Hey, thanks for checking out this video today. Please click subscribe and like this video if you want more wrestling information from me. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at TheWrestlingDad149. All right, let's get into it. Today I wanted to get into the discussion of illegal recruiting. It was brought up on Twitter yesterday. There was kind of a, it always gets pretty heated. Basically, this happens like every year, every couple years. Christian Piles usually brings up that either on his show or on Twitter that college coaches will come to him and basically complain that another school is recruiting their guys illegally. So wrestlers that are already committed and have wrestled for a specific university are then being illegally recruited by the coaches of another university. And it's typically kids who are having success. So your better guys are getting recruited away. And it's typically like a smaller school. I would just make up a school because I don't want to like name anyone specifically, but let's say like Southern Texas State University, they're complaining that their guy's getting recruited away by USA Wrestling University. And obviously that's super illegal. It shows really low character if coaches are doing that. It's something that we don't want in sports. We don't want in wrestling. I think it's just a bad look for everybody all around. So I think the frustration that comes from Christian Piles from Flow Wrestling is coaches come and complain to him that this is happening. And when he kind of asks for more detail, they don't really have any more detail. And it's frustrating because it probably is a story and it is something I think they'd like to cover, but they need all the information. They can't just go off rumor and innuendo. They're a legitimate organization. They can't have poor journalism like that where they're just reporting on rumors of schools doing something that's super illegal and people could lose their jobs over, kids could lose eligibility over. It's obviously a no-go. There's nothing they can do about it if they don't have the full story. So I think the issue the coaches are having, and he kind of says like the coaches kind of hush up about what school's doing it, what coach might specifically be doing it, those kinds of things. And I think the issue comes into play is this is something that is extremely difficult to prove. Only the kid that's being recruited and the coach that is doing the illegal recruiting would be basically the ones that could prove that this is happening. And if a kid's already agreed that they're leaving, he's not going to turn himself in. And the coach that's doing this illegal recruiting is not going to turn themselves in. So how do you prove it? How do these coaches go to the next step? There's really nothing they can do unless somehow they are able to get their hands on some evidence, which is obviously near impossible to do. You just have to kind of fall into a situation where you can prove it, which is unlikely. The other loopholes that you hear about all the time is, the kids from USA Wrestling University know this one kid or two kids at, South Texas State are aware of them and contact them. And there's nothing in the rules that say, well, wrestlers or kids from the university or parents of current wrestlers can't contact other wrestlers and say, hey, why don't you transfer over here? We've got better facilities. We've got better practice partners, so on and so forth, NIL deals, all that kind of stuff. So there's other loopholes you hear about where, the coaches can kind of wash their hands of it completely and say, well, this kid entered the transfer portal. So we reached out and, our kids having contact with their kids, is something that's, we either didn't know about or, we had nothing to do with. So it's just super difficult to prove. These coaches are really coming in with like just rumor, and obviously rumor is not good enough to prove anything. And, how are these rumors getting started? Where there's smoke, there's fire. The kids that are getting recruited are telling somebody who then tells somebody else, and it just becomes like a game of telephone. I spoke to a coach here, they said I was looking good, blah, blah, blah. It starts out probably kind of complimentary and then, snowballs more and more into a recruiting process and becomes more serious. And by the time the kid learns like, hey, I probably should have told anyone about this, they're kind of in the throes of it. And but still, when someone actually questions them about it, they just, well, no, that's not what's happening. That never occurred. It's just made up. It's all rumor. So super hard to prove. The other issue, which I've already kind of talked about, which is, the coaches are basically running on this rumor and innuendo. And my question is which is similar to what Flow Wrestling is asking, or what Christian Piles is asking, which is, are these coaches reporting these issues to their athletic directors and athletic departments? So if you hear, your wrestler X, the best guy at our college, at our university, just took 7th at NCAA's, he's our best guy, he's the face of our program, but now he's leaving to go to USA Wrestling University, and we feel very strongly that he's being illegally recruited. Are they contacting their athletic departments? Are they trying to block this transfer in any way, shape, or form? And it's just falling through because they have no real evidence. And so they do the next thing that they can think of, which is, I'll go to a media outlet, and they run into the same problem, which is, well, can you prove it? No, I can't prove it. So the coaches are running on innuendo. They're running on rumor. I think the best case scenario is, if this is happening, that coaches are consistently reporting it. Because if you have a consistent report from your university or other universities that different, the more prestigious wrestling universities are doing this, you're going to be able to build a stronger case over time. And I've heard coaches talk about, oh, well, if someone wants to leave, let them go. We don't need them. If they don't want to be here, we don't need them, and that kind of thing. And that's all well and good until you're getting gutted year after year, and you can't survive, or you can't not even survive. You can't build a successful program because your best kid, if you are developing talent, your best kid is getting snatched from you every year, every other year. Everyone needs to be on kind of the same page as far as how that's being handled to try to make sure that this illegal stuff is not happening. That's just my opinion about how coaches should handle it. Is that you need to protect your program, and you need to stand up for yourself. And when something super illegal like this happens, what I would consider a major infraction, that you're doing everything that you can to show that you're building a case, or to show that this is happening, so that in the future, hopefully, they can enforce it in a better way, or that it will stop happening. So it's an unfortunate situation if it is happening. I hope that they can get it figured out and make sure that there's a level playing field, and that coaches are doing the right thing. Because all the time in wrestling, we talk about how this teaches about life, and that it builds character, it builds honor, it builds all these great qualities. We obviously don't want to be promoting this kind of behavior, this kind of illegal activity that I would consider a major infraction. You shouldn't be doing this. This isn't the things that are in the great thoughts of wrestling, that are the things we talk about learning about life, about going through hard things, and things are going to get tough, and you got to get tougher, and you got to build on yourself, and not just take the easy way out all the time. And I think that's what those coaches are doing, and they're basically pulling kids over instead of, hey, I got to develop a 41 pounder. I got to develop a 97 pounder. I got to develop a 25 pounder next year with the guys that we have, or an incoming freshman. Not, hey, that school's not very good and we're really good, and their guy just placed and our guy didn't. Maybe I'll go talk to that kid. It's just the wrong way to handle things. So thanks for watching this video all the way through. Again, please subscribe and like. If you want to follow me on other platforms, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at TheWrestlingDad149.